everyone, and welcome to this very exciting event. I'm Nature Book Week Ambassador Jen Martin, and I'm so thrilled to be here with the Wilderness Society to announce the shortlist for the 2024 Karajia and Environment Award for Children's Literature. Now, announcing the shortlist is always very special, but this year is particularly wonderful because we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Wilderness Society celebrating children's books that promote a love of nature. And to begin our celebration, I'm so pleased that Jasmine Seymour, one of our judges this year, is going to give the acknowledgement of country. Thank you, Jasmine.
Warami. Bujari Darabara, good day. Ngaya Giara, Jasmine Seymour. My name is Jasmine Seymour. By Juniela Bujari Yagu, good to speak to you all today. Ngaya Darug Nurayin, I am from Darug country. Ngalawaju Yagu Darug Nurawa, I'm standing today on Darug country. Baju Bujari Darugi Yoragu, I speak well of Darug people. Baju Bujari Darug Wurungatgu Baranyin Burabagu, I speak well of Darug elders from yesterday to tomorrow. And I would like to acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples across Australia as the first artists, storytellers, communities and creators of culture. I pay my respects to the traditional owners and elders whose stories and experiences are at the heart of the lands on which the creators of the beautiful books we are about to see live and work today. Baju Bujari Wagugu Iora Nurabemogu, I speak well of First Peoples and their homelands. Baju Nila Bujari Yamyagu, and I speak well of you all here today. Yanma Mudai Nurawa, walk softly on country.
Thank you, Jasmine. I'm joining you today from Naarm, Melbourne, on the lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people. So before we announce the shortlist, it's time for you to get to know two of this year's judges a little bit. So I'm thrilled to introduce Jess McGeachin and Jasmine Seymour, who you just heard from. Jasmine is a Darug woman and descendant of Maria Locke, who was the daughter of Yarramundi, the Buru Barangal elder who met Governor Phillip on the banks of the Hawkesbury River in 1791. And it's Jasmine's wish that through her books, everyone will know that the Darug mob are still here and still strong. Jasmine, as well as being an author, is a primary school teacher in the Hawkesbury area of New South Wales, and her book, Open Your Heart to Country, was shortlisted for the Karajia Award last year. And Jasmine, I've just learnt from you that you are also currently undertaking a PhD, so thank you so much for making the time to join us today. I don't quite know how you've managed to do that, but I'm so glad that you did.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here for such a incredibly important award. And, you know, the topics of my books are always about nature and about outside and country. And it's so exciting to see all the emerging books from First Nations people in Australia speaking about their own countries.
I couldn't agree with you more. I just feel so blessed to have the opportunity to look and read at all these really stunning books. So I can't wait to hear more about the Karajia shortlist from you shortly. But before we go there, I'm so pleased to introduce the second judge joining us today, Jess, who is an author and illustrator based also in Naarm, Melbourne. Constantly inspired by the natural world, Jess draws quite literally from his day job at a wonderful place, the Melbourne Museum. I hope everyone gets a chance to go to the Melbourne Museum. And Jess's books, Kind and The Tree at Number 43, were co-winners in the 2023 Environment Award for Children's Literature. Welcome, Jess. And that's quite an impressive achievement to tie for one of the top awards with yourself.
Thanks, Jen, and thanks for having me. Yeah, it was a bit of a strange feeling. I think I got a call from one publisher saying, look, we've got good news and bad news. The good news is you're a co-winner. And I was like, oh, that's great. Somebody else gets to share the prize. But then I got another call saying it was also me. That's highly arrogant and not intentional. But look, the more people reading books about nature, the better. So I'm okay with that too.
100%. I think that's kind of cool. You know, did you have to give an acceptance speech where you just constantly turned to your other half and said, what do you think, Jess?
Not quite.
Well, congratulations. And so, as I said, everyone, we are celebrating 30 years of the Environment Award for Children's Literature this year, which is something I think we should all feel incredibly proud of. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to celebrate. And Jasmine and Jess, I'd love to hear from you about some of the nature books that you loved growing up that maybe have stayed with you, or books you've read more recently that you've really loved. And everyone joining us on our Facebook Live, please add to the chat. We'd love to see your comments too about your favourite nature books. But Jasmine, let's start with you. Do you have any particular nature books that stay with you?
Yeah, when I was really little, like my dad would read to me How the Birds Got Their Colours. So that book is really important to me, and it is to so many Australian children. You know, it's one of their first entries into dreaming stories of Australia, and to really see the rich beauty of our bird life. I also really loved in the last couple of years Brother Moon by Magabala. I think it's a real modern take on dreaming stories, and to see stories of country from diverse places across Australia is so important. I also really loved Little Bird's Day by Magabala as well. You know, that the sort of richness of country drawn through ochre is something that is, you know, so incredible to see in a contemporary setting. Those books really inspire me to write about my own place, and I think we're so rich in Australia with the diversity of our Indigenous peoples, and we really need to be opening up to more of those stories all the time.
Yeah, and books that absolutely have the power to transport us to completely different places from where we find ourselves as we read.
That's right. Absolutely. I mean, I work in a big urban centre in Sydney, and lots of the kids around me only know their streets. So books are so important to open up everyone's minds and hearts.
Completely agree. Thank you, Jasmine. Jess, tell us about some of your favourite nature books.
Well, 30 years. I was just reflecting that that's slightly younger than I am, but it was the world would have just started when I was really starting to devour picture books. Like it would have been the awards would have kicked off just when I was really getting to that age where I would read everything that I could. And I have such strong memories of being sprawled out on the library floor, just taking, probably the librarians hated me because I took everything off the shelf so I could sort of surround myself, not being able to decide what to read next. And I was looking at the winners and shortlists from years past, and it's like a kind of it was such a memory lane because I grew up on those books. It's Jane Tanner and Alison Lester and Tim Winton and Jeannie Baker, and I remember every one of those books so strongly. And there's so few things that I think grab you and keep you for that long. So I couldn't pick one, but I have a particular kind of nostalgia for those kind of books of the 90s and the 2000s, which I think in some ways prior to that, a lot of nature books could be quite Eurocentric, and to see this country reflected on the page through those authors and illustrators, and some of the illustrators and authors that Jasmine mentioned too. I think that's, it's the identity of us so much of our nature through those books. I think is so wonderful. So I owe so much to those on the shortlist in previous years.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's actually impossible to name a favourite book of any genre, let alone nature book. But I feel for me, I'm older than you are, Jess, but I had kind of the books that I grew up with, and then the books then that I spent reading to my kids. I've got teenagers now, but you get a lot of years of reading books to children if you're if you're passionate about that. And so I also look at past winners and past shortlist members, and so many of them are familiar to me. And isn't it wonderful that some of the shortlisted books we're going to announce today are going to become people's favourites in all the years to come? So, Jasmine, joining you on the judging panel for the Karajia Award for Children's Literature is wonderful author and academic Amy Tunig and brilliant educator Danae Coots. And you have quite a lot of work ahead of you. We're just about to hear the shortlist, but all the best to the three of you. And Jess, joining you on the judging panel for the Environment Award for Children's Literature, we have science communicator extraordinaire Dr. Kylie Soanes and fabulous actor, singer and children's entertainer Zinzi Okenyo. You also have a very big job ahead of you. So let's get started then and talk about these wonderful shortlisted books. Jasmine, I would absolutely love you to announce the 2024 Karajia Award for Children's Literature shortlist.
Wow, it is such a privilege to be a judge for this category. And as we know, my book, Open Your Heart to Country, was shortlisted in this award last year. And all of my books are about nature and country and place. And so today it is my great pleasure to announce the nominees. The picture fiction shortlist for the Karajia has two categories. So the picture fiction shortlist is Nedingar, Ancestors by Isabel Bevis, illustrated by Leanne Zilm. And Guru, Stormbird by Trevor Formile, illustrated by Jingaloo. And the non-fiction shortlist is Ask Auntie Seasons by Auntie Munya Andrews, illustrated by Charmaine Ledden-Lewis. The Trees by Victor Stephenson, illustrated by Sandra Stephenson. Damara by Violet Wadrell, Topsy Dodd, Lee Lehman, Felicity Meekins, Bryony Barr, Gregory Cricketti, Cecilia Edwards, and Cassandra Algie. Gurawal the Whale by Max Dulamamun Harrison, illustrated by Laura LaRosa. And In My Blood It Runs by Duane Hussain, Margaret Anderson, and Carol Turner. How exciting, and congratulations, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Enormous congratulations to all of the Karajia Award shortlisted authors, illustrators, and publishers. What an incredible selection of really stunning and inspiring books. How on earth are you feeling about needing to, obviously being a judge is wonderful because you get to read and revel and just enjoy these beautiful books, but you're also there to judge them, Jasmine. How are you feeling about that?
Very, very challenging, very difficult. When I opened them up and put them out, I was just lost for words, and I'm still feeling a little overwhelmed. It is so great to see such diversity in these books, and some of them are by people that I know. So that it's such a wonderful experience to be able to celebrate these people. So yeah, it's very exciting, and I can't wait to share it with everyone in the future. The winner.
Absolutely. Jess, have you had the opportunity to look at any of these books that have been shortlisted for the Karajia Award? I know you're judging a different set of awards, but
I have. I've seen a few of those covers, and it's nice to see books which are, I've already gravitated towards and had, and I'm like, oh, I knew it. I knew that would be, pop up somewhere special. And it's, I tend to remember covers above all else. Maybe it's an illustration thing. So I just, the covers alone, let alone the kind of beautiful words and content, they're just such a beautiful mix of stories this year. In particular, this is a really, really strong shortlist. I don't envy Jasmine's job.
Very difficult.
But equally wonderful to have the opportunity to have so many really stunning books to choose from. That old saying of never judge a book by its cover. But I'm like, but what if all the covers are so beautiful? And for everyone listening, I'd love to let you know that Harry Hartog Booksellers is partnering with the Wilderness Society. So if you're hearing about these books and thinking, I would love to read them, or perhaps that they would make a wonderful gift for somebody in your life, I can let you know that if you purchase any of these books on the Karajia or Environment Award for Children's Literature shortlist, if you purchase them from Harry Hartog, they will donate 10% of sales back to the Wilderness Society, which is a really, really wonderful partnership. We're thrilled to have Harry Hartog as part of our book celebrations. And if you have a look in the comments, you should be able to see the link that you need about Harry Hartog. So thank you, Jasmine. Let's move on now to announcing the shortlist for the Environment Award for Children's Literature. Jess, would you do us the honour of announcing the picture fiction shortlist, please?
I would love to announce the Picture Fiction shortlist for the Environment Awards for Children's Literature this year. A huge congratulations to everybody that made the shortlist. It's such an incredible list this year. It's so incredibly strong. So without further ado, the first book on the list is Hope is the Thing by Johanna Bell, illustrated by Erica Wagner. Wallamai by Samantha Tidy, illustrated by Rachel Gyan. The Forgotten Song by Coral Vass, illustrated by Jess Ratcliffe. The Turtle and the Flood by Jackie French, illustrated by Danny Snell. And Desert Jungle by Jeannie Baker. Congratulations to everybody on the shortlist.
Yes, enormous congratulations. And there'll be some names in there that are very familiar to people, and also some new names, which is wonderful, because that's part of what we want to be doing here, is for people to get to know about new incredible authors and illustrators. So thank you, Jess. I'll be bringing you back shortly to announce some more of the shortlist. But I have the great pleasure of announcing the fiction category for the Environment Award for Children's Literature. So the most enormous congratulations we have two shortlisted books. The first is The Littlest Penguin and the Penguin Island Penguin Parade by the Penguin Foundation and illustrated by Jeddah Robard. And our second book on the fiction shortlist is Ruby and the Pen by David Lawrence and illustrated by Cherie Dignam. And I had the great pleasure of being a fellow judge with David Lawrence for the Environment Award for Children's Literature back in 2020. So it's really fantastic to see David here again. And warmest congratulations to those authors and illustrators. Now back to you, Jess. Let's hear about the non-fiction shortlisted books.
So the shortlist for the non-fiction category is as follows. The Trees by Victor Stephenson, illustrated by Sandra Stephenson. Australian Animals from Beach to Bush by Brentos. The Frog Book, Nature's Alarm by Sue Lawson, illustrated by Guy Holt. Life in a Hollow by David Galan, illustrated by Suzanne Houghton. And How We Came to Be, Creatures of Camouflage and Mimicry by Sammy Bailey. Congratulations to everybody on the non-fiction shortlist as well.
So what an incredible shortlist. Everybody who's listening, I hope you're excited to go and explore some of these books. And yeah, I just feel so excited. 30 years of celebrating Australia's books about nature. What do you think, Jess and Jasmine? I mean, how unusual is this to have awards like this lasting for so long and to have such a plethora of beautiful books to celebrate? What do you think?
I think, yeah, I just think it's so wonderful, at a time when libraries are sort of disappearing from schools. But, there's still so much beautiful work being created to share with kids, and, really encourage everyone to purchase these books, get them in your schools, support our writers and our illustrators. These are stories that our kids really need to be hearing. It's never been more important, with what is happening with, in the world today. And reading is everything. I worked as a librarian for a little while in my school, and I know how important these books are for kids to just lay on the ground with, like you were saying, Jess, and just pour over. They become their friends. They become their whole world sometimes, and it inspires them for what they're going to do in the future. So, yeah, it is a great privilege to be a part of this award. And, yeah, I'm really excited to see who the winners are.
Yeah, and Jasmine, I think, as I've got older, I've spent more and more of my time listening to audiobooks. Just, I work full time. I've got a busy family. I love to listen to stories when I'm out walking or running or commuting or whatever it is. But children's books, among all books, are the ones that just don't translate, do they? Children's books are the ones you need to have physical copies in your hand. You need to be, lying out in a paddock or on the bed with your child reading, or just reading them to yourself. I just feel like these physical books are just so, so important.
They are. You just can't replace them, and there's never enough books, I think, So yeah, please get out there and purchase them for your libraries, for your own kids, for your family, friends, for everyone, even adults. It enriches everyone's lives.
My kids asked me the other day if the bookshelf in our house that is full of children's books, if I'm ever going to kind of clear that out and fill it with non-children's books, given that they're not little kids anymore. I said, no way. I'm never getting rid of our children's books. They're my favourite books in the house.
Absolutely. Yeah, me too.
So for anyone joining us, please let us know in the comments what books on our shortlist are you most excited to read, or perhaps you already have a favourite. We'd love to see your comments. But just tell me more about how you're feeling about being part of the awards this year. Such a recent winner. What do you think this award means both to kids and to authors and illustrators?
It was actually the start of the week was a bit sad from an environmental point of view, from climate policy and things like that, and a lot of ambition, I think, potentially was lost, and I was a bit sad of that. And then I came into my studio and I had this giant pile of books that I had to go through, and it just cheered me up to no end, because they're the people that are reading these books. They're the leaders they're the ones that are going to kind of take stewardship next. And I think the optimism in this list, in the awards in general, but in particular this year, is really beautiful and so timely, because these books are not, some of them deal with really hard subjects, but they all do it in a way that's so clever and so, I think, appropriate to inspire people to take action. So for me, and not just kids either, adults as well. I often turn to picture books when I don't know what to do next. Not those, not giant thick tomes. I turn to kind of colourful pictures. So to be involved in the awards and to potentially help highlight books that might do it especially well is such an honour. And as a fellow kind of storyteller and illustrator and author, it's just, I get so inspired by these books too, and will use, I'm sure, take parts from every part of them into my own work, because that's, sharing them is how we kind of hopefully make change.
Hear, hear. Well, thank you so much, Jasmine and Jess, for making the time to be with us here today, and for making time to be judges this year for these very special awards. And huge thanks also to your fellow judges, Amy, Danae, Kylie and Zinzi. I'm not envious of your jobs. I did have a wonderful time being a judge a few years ago, but I did find it really difficult. I think it's
Jasmine's got an expert judge behind her as well.
Jasmine, is your cat going to help with the judging?
I think so.
Well, all the best to you for judging. I can't wait to hear who is going to end up with the top awards. And we'll be announcing the winners of the Karajia and the Environment Awards for Children's Literature during Nature Book Week, which this year is going to run from the 14th to the 20th of October. I can't wait. There's going to be so many wonderful events happening. There'll be different events all around the country celebrating storytelling. And if you'd like to host your own event, please check in the comments for details. We'd love to hear from you. And as I said, these are stunning books, and please remember that if you purchase any of these books on the Karajia or the Environment Award for Children's Literature shortlist from Harry Hartog, they will donate 10% of their sales back to the Wilderness Society, which is a really wonderful thing for them to be doing. So that is it today for our shortlist announcement. Enormous congratulations to all of the talented authors and illustrators who have made it onto this year's shortlist. We're so thrilled for you. As I said, thank you to Jasmine and Jess and all of our judges, and good luck to them for the task ahead. I'd also like to thank Lily and Rashmika and Jen for all their hard work behind the scenes for this event. And finally, a huge thank you to you for joining us today. And we really can't wait to celebrate Nature Book Week with you in October. And in the meantime, happy reading.